Well, the United Nations says some 300,000 people have been killed in Sudan's Darfur region. Over 4 million people need aid and more than 2 million have been displaced. The United States has expressed concern, both publicly and privately, to the Sudanese government about the ongoing fighting. The Darfur conflict began in 2003 when mainly non-Arab tribes took up arms against the Arab-led government based in Khartoum, accusing it of discrimination. Although violence has eased in recent years, the insurgency continues, and Khartoum has escalated attacks on rebels over the past year. At least 130,000 people have fled fighting in the central Jebel Mara area since mid-January only. Now, the Darfur Women Action Group is a U.S.-based Darfuri-led anti-atrocities organization that has been working to maintain the world's focus on the plight of Darfurians. The group, in partnership with the Sudanese diaspora and Friends of Darfur and Sudan worldwide, launched a global week of action beginning April the 15th to protest the continuing genocide in Darfur and violence in Sudan. Niemat Ahmadi is the president and founder Darfur Women Action Group and now joins me in studio to tell us more. So we have to emphasize this is a women-led group, right?
Yes.
Yes. First, tell us just briefly why you thought it is important to launch this week of protest.
It is very important because the situation in Darfur continued for over 13 years, and the violence is extremely escalating in the recent months. Between January and February of 2016, the intensive bombing and ground troops are attacking civilians in the central Darfur, Jebel Mara. Many people have been trapped in the mountains within the caves, and the government declared Jebel Mara as a no-go area for UN agencies. So there are people who have fled to the camps and major cities, but there are many more who have been trapped there. And this situation needs to be brought to the attention of the world community.
Now, a few years ago, we talked about Darfur almost every day. Why do you think the focus has shifted? Is it because perhaps the conflict has kind of focused now on a smaller area of the Darfur region?
Unfortunately not, but because the government of Sudan has been successful in isolating Darfur from the outside world. None of the international delegates are allowed to go to visit Darfur. Journalists has not been allowed since 2009. And there is just limited information coming out of Darfur. And because Darfur is not in the news, so many people think it is over. But also the international community is always doing an unfinished business and moving to another crisis. So they have not yet finished their work in Darfur.
We know that in the case of Sudan and the Sudan region, South Sudan took center stage now for the last 5 years or so. Do you think South Sudan actually took the focus away from Darfur?
To me, it is not about South Sudan took the focus, but the approach taken by the international community, including the United States, to resolving the crisis in Sudan has not been effective. Because the problem is not just in South Sudan. The problem centered in Sudan, where an indicted president, the only sitting head of the state to be wanted by the ICC, sitting and continue to pursue his genocidal policy by attacking the people of Darfur, extending the killing to Nuba Mountain, and the same reason that forced the Southern Sudanese people to move. So if you want to resolve the problem, you have to resolve it comprehensively, not piecemeal solutions.
So, in few words, what are you telling the United States and its leaders about action that should be taken that actually can make a difference in Darfur?
I think there are many actions that can be taken, but immediately I demand that the United States government should at least flew the special envoy to visit Darfur, because the government is blocking Darfur for outsiders to get an accurate information about the situation. The UN Security Council should send an investigative team to find out more about what has been going on in central Jebel Mara in western Darfur and come up with a clear picture of what are the needs, and also humanitarian access supposed to be allowed to all the needy within Darfur, but also in South Kordofan and Blue Nile, and accountability for the crimes committed. This is not just 1 day, 2 day, or a year or so. This is 13 years of a systematic killing of civilians. And rape has been used as a weapon of war, destruction of villages. So I think accountability, as the International Criminal Court has already made its point. So I think there is a lot that need to be done, and the United States and other leaders should.
Very few seconds. Is there any leadership within Darfur region that has been able to actually voice these concerns from outside? I mean, from within the country?
From within the country, people are extremely oppressed. If you speak, you will be shot, killed. And so many people either in prison or targeted for killing, but people, only those who are outside can be able to speak, because the government has not allowed any space for freedom of expression or assembly or anything to voice your demand from within Darfur.
We believe you.
And that's why we are speaking on behalf of those who cannot speak for themselves.
Definitely, I think people are listening. Thank you very much, Niemat, for joining us today, giving us those insights. Niemat Ahmadi is the president and founder of the Washington-based Darfur Women Action Group. We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vince Makori.